One. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our new format for the US Cafe. Myself and Ghazi Bouzidi and all the staff from IxDA Tunis welcomes a lot our first international guest. It's online, but it's Mr. Sebastián Ossés.
Yeah, that's right. How are you?
Yeah, how are you? Welcome, sir. We are really glad to have you today. So what do you have for us?
Okay, so like every live, we should wait just a minute so people gonna pop up to get and we're gonna share in the social media. And we have Malek with us. Malek, hello. Malek is part of the team. Malek, if you can, Malek is part of the team of the IxDA Tunis. If you can introduce yourself and tell more about the club.
Hello everyone, hello Mr. Sebastián Ossés, is that right? Am I pronouncing your name right?
That's right.
Okay, super cool. So I'm Abdel Said Malek. I'm a new member of IxDA Tunis, which is founded on the 2018. Is that right, Karim? Yeah, so yes. We are 2 years old now. And we are very thrilled and honored to be our guests tonight. So thank you so much.
Thank you for the invitation. Well, I actually invited myself almost.
Ghazi, if you can. Ghazi, if you can introduce yourself.
So welcome to everyone who's watching tonight. Ghazi Bouzidi, member of IxDA Tunis. I'm a UX designer and work in the product like a whole system for like 3 years now, and I've been like focusing on the design, especially part of the product lifecycle. And today we are really honored to have like our first international guest, and hopefully.
Oh yeah, you are the first one, yeah.
And yeah, you are our first, and hopefully this will be like a new stuff that we will do.
Yes,
like
on a collaborations.
Yeah, we should have like we should do this more. Like yeah. So go ahead, Sebastián. Tell us what
we should
have for us tonight.
We should see if Monji can open his cam. Monji, can you hear me? Monji, can you hear me? I think that Monji is not available. Okay, so my name is Abdel Abdallah. You can just call me Karim. I'm a IT professional. And I did start the IxDA Tunis as a way to teach people about UX. Teach myself because I'm not UX expert myself. So it has been a long, and very funny, a very beautiful, learning process. Thanks to the team, thanks to Marwan, who is not with us right now. Thanks to Monji as well. So if you see at your right, there is a section for comments. Gonna be people commenting, and most of our community is used to different format. This is the first time we're going live this way, so we're gonna share with them the link so they won't miss this. If you have and in the meanwhile, Sebastián, if you can tell us about the IxDA and IxDA Lima, and why and how did you start the chapter?
Hey, hello. Well, actually, I've been leading the IxDA Lima for a couple of years, and right now another person is leading it since I haven't had the time. But actually, when we started in, I think, 2016, there was no one leading the chapter, so we looked around and we saw all these chapters around the world, in Chile, in Argentina, in New York, in Colombia, but there weren't here a place so that people can connect with each other, And I'm not from Peru. I am from Chile. I've been living in Chile like all my childhood. Then I moved to the US, and then I moved to Chile, and then I moved back to Peru. So when I got here to Peru, I couldn't find any professionals that work in UX, or there were so little. So I found a friend here, which is also my partner, and then we sent an email to the IXDA community and told them like, hey, there's no IXDA here, so why don't we open a chapter in Lima and we can start moving the things and open the community and helping each other and getting to know more people involved in the UX and service design.
Yeah, that's pretty much what happens. What happened here also.
Yeah, it's very similar to our journey here.
I'm gonna tell you something funny.
Uh-huh.
I was looking for a design chapter, how to say, additional chapter, and I thought that the IxDA was about design. So it was total mistake to go to IxDA, but at the same time, it was a big blessing because it was much better than a simple design club. It was user experience, and once I did start the club, I called the first one I did get in touch with was Marwan. He's not with us right now. I'm gonna, but Ghazi did join, Malik did join, Nasreen Tumi did join, our friend Munshi did join. So it's a small community, but very active, very effective, and we thank everybody who did attend our meetings, our events. We did host 2 IxDD, International Design Day. So again, I think it's time we give you the stage to tell us more about UX and education.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to talk about. I was recently in the IXDA in Colombia. I don't know if you heard about it. Here we got a place called ILA. It's ILA, Interaction Latin America. It's a really big event that took place in Colombia. This year was going to be in Costa Rica, but it was canceled due to the quarantine, But it was an amazing event. So I look forward to be traveling to another events around the world. But I recommend to you and all the community there, if you can grab your backpack and come to the ILA, Interaction in Latin America. It's a really fun event. There are parties, of course, a lot of lecture, really renowned professionals, and it's a fun place to know people and to get involved with the community.
Wow. Does it happen once a year?
Sebastián, if ever we make it there, we won't attend any event. We're going to attend every party.
Yeah,
for sure.
Well,
so this happens like every year, or like once?
Yeah, the Interaction in Latin America, I think it's every year. Every year they choose a new country. And for example, there was one in Chile, one in Brazil. There was another one in Colombia. We look forward to hosting an event here in Lima, but every organization is coordinated in the previous event. So right now, the date is for Costa Rica in the 2021, and then maybe we can host it here in Lima. I don't know. We have to
is it part of the IxDA, or is it like a group of designers who would like do this on their own, or is it part of an association?
Can you repeat the question?
I said, is it part of the association, or like is it a group of designers who just?
No, it's a regular part of the association, only focused on Latin America. So people from the IXDA come, and I think here there were many professionals from the US, England, and many parts of the world. So it's a real worldwide event that took place in Colombia, in Medellin, and it's beautiful. It was amazing. I mean, it's a really big event. I think like almost 1,000 people or more, 1,500, something like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. We'll be really glad to make it next time.
I won't tell anything, but we have a similar event and they're going to be part of that. It's getting ready under the hood, so details are coming. Stay tuned. Yeah, it's not going to be Latin America thing. It's going to be Africa thing. Okay, that's a hint.
Yeah, it should be. Also.
Okay, Sebastian. The first thing when I get your name, I did remember something that is part of my childhood.
Okay.
Qazi may remember, but Melek won't be able to remember that. There was a Japanese cartoon, very famous one. It's called Belle and Sebastian.
Yes.
I don't know if you know it.
I don't know it. Maybe you can share it to me in the chat.
Sebastian is a cat, right?
No, it's Belle is a white dog.
Oh yeah. Sure.
And it did mark my childhood because this little guy, he did travel looking for his mom with his huge dog. It was a Pyrenees white dog. It's a big one, and it was amazing. It was part of my childhood.
Great.
Yes, I do remember that.
Yeah. And it's a French. I think it's a French, and then it was adapted, to be adapted by Japanese cartoon. So
I think originally it's Japanese, but the names were inspired from French.
No, it's an old French novel, but it was adapted to be a cartoon by Japanese. Yeah. I did share the link in the comments. I'm gonna check it. Whatever
I will check it out.
Okay.
So I get a question, Kevin. I got a quick question. I don't see since I cannot see if anyone is connected. Is there someone online right now? So maybe they can. Yeah.
Yeah, we have like 20 people watching us right now, and there's gonna be. So we are 10 minutes into the live, and we have 10 minutes. So people are gonna be people coming, So and it's and if you can share the link, with your community as well, with your buddies. Because I did see, there are 3 people who did register for the event from Peru.
Oh, great!
Yeah.
So, well, how is the people there in other parts of the world? I want to know, how are you? Are you there? Can you tell me?
Yes, we are still here.
Still alive.
We are not ghosts.
I can only see the chat.
Yeah. The chat is your connection with the community. We used to have a different format where we have like a speaker and everybody is online, but it's a big mess, and everybody they keep their microphone open and they have to check who is there's a noise and so on. This is a new format. I'll make sure that everything is smooth and clear, and somehow people can they can interact with you through the comments. We're gonna display every comment.
Yeah, please. So I wanted to ask the people what profession are they? Are they designers? Are they developers? Are they service designers? UX professionals?
It's easy. I'm gonna tell you easy. I'm gonna tell you right now that most of our community are designers.
Designers, okay.
Yeah.
Also, we have a bunch of developers, especially front-end developers who want to develop their knowledge on the design aspects and stuff like that. So mostly designers and developers.
And one architect as me.
Yeah, also yeah.
Yeah, but I have here the people registering to our event. Most of them are either two students or or designers. We have few people that are entrepreneurs.
One type of people that we hope to attract more are entrepreneurs, because they are probably the most who should be concerned with this, but unfortunately they are not engaging as much as they should, or at least that's what I think. But hopefully we'll get there.
Okay, so exactly, we have 26% students, 37% are designers. We have 15 people that are just curious, 3% architects, 8% 8% are managers, and 8% are people who have startups. Exactly.
Great. So you tell me, Karim, do we start? Do we wait a little bit more? So
I think Malek, you can tell us how to start or not.
Yes, we're gonna start to introduce our topic to our audience, I guess. Yeah, so our topics for today will be how UX and user experience can shape our educational system. And we'll take example for Lima, as our guest is very well known in that field. So in other words, building a user experience and service design educational ecosystem. So how can that impact?
great.
So if we can have your slide.
Yes.
If you can share your slide, Sebastian.
Okay,
Can you check
I will.
yeah.
I will do it. Sure.
Excellent.
So right now, are you seeing my presentation?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, we see it.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you in the comment section to the people that is online, is anyone hearing me well? Are you getting the right signal for internet connection? Is it okay, everything?
We are hearing you good, so I think.
Yeah. So far, the voice is great.
Okay, in case my connection goes bad, maybe you can tell me so I can turn off my camera. Okay. Maybe I will turn it off right now. Just for a little, since I'm sharing the presentation. So I will start the presentation. This is a really special place for me. I never thought I would be talking with you guys, so it's incredible the connections that we have in the IxDA community. I'm really grateful for it. I'm really grateful to Karen for accepting me. And I don't think the design ecosystem is that different from any country. So I think maybe we can share a lot in the post conversation that we have once I finish the presentation about how we relate, what are the differences in Lima, in Tunis or Africa. So maybe we can discuss a little bit about that.
Yeah, sounds good.
So Karim, do I start? Yeah?
Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So this talk is called Building a UX and Service Design Educational Ecosystem. And hello, bonjour, hola. You can learn a little bit Spanish. Hello, it's hola in Spanish. So if you have any questions later about words, about how to talk to a man, to a girl, then I can help you with that. Okay. And well, my name is Sebastián. I'm from Chile. I studied sociology in Chile, but I actually learned to be a self-made designer, and I'm actually a musician. I teach in different universities and institutes here in Europe, and I'm actually an entrepreneur. I have a company here called Continuum, which is an innovation company that I will be telling you. I added the QR of my LinkedIn account, so if anyone wants to ask me something later, then you can add me there. I will be really pleased to keep sharing and to keep having conversations with any one of you. And I wanted to do a quick let's to know each other. In the chat, I wanted to know the role, your city, and the company you are right now, so I can understand a little bit better who is in this call, in this webinar. That would be great for me. And what I'll need from you guys is a lot of discussion, comments, and questions that we will do and we will review after the presentation. So let's begin. a quick background about me. As I told you, I lead a company here in Continuum, here in Peru called Continuum. This is an innovation and technology company. We are around 80 people that work from Peru, Chile, and in the US. I lead the Peruvian office. We work also in UX projects, service design, innovation, software development, and actually we have a big part of the company that is focused only on education about technology and innovation. So that's what I will be sharing right now in this presentation. We started around 10 years ago. We now have the purpose of turning Latin America into this hub of innovation and technological businesses. So I believe that we got here in Latin America a huge potential, to create something worldwide. And there are many new professionals creating and big startups changing the way that Latin America is seen to the world. Really big Latin American companies that are working now worldwide, and we want to be a part of that. We want to impulse this innovation hub and keep giving our support to all the companies and all the startups that are being born right now in these countries. So in Continuum, we working mainly four types of services: digital transformation, product and service design, software development, and corporate training programs. I think this is no different than what you do guys there. I mean, I think in many parts of the world, we need companies supporting the local corporations and startups. And we also been collaborating with a tech and innovation company. We have publications and articles, Mashables in UX Magazine, and we of course have our own blog. We've developed different kinds of frameworks, and we actually host a conference here in Chile, Latin America, called StarsConf. We invite people from all over the world to speak at that conference, and as the main topic of this conversation, we collaborate a lot in education. So the first part of this presentation is called Building a UX and Service Design Ecosystem. And since I started many years ago in this field, I wanna share with you how I jumped from web design to transforming whole corporations. I think it's maybe a common issue with you guys. The popularity of UX and service design has become so higher that now we're transforming new services, whole corporations, and of course, startups. By the time we've accelerated the professional development of more than 3,000 people that took part in of UX and service design educational programs, I don't know if it's the biggest number, but for us, it's a really big number. 3,000 people here only in Peru and in Chile. For us, it's a lot of people. Once we started in 2014 here, there were not many professionals involved in UX and service design, and just as how the IxDA was created here, there were no formal education in universities or institutes that develop UX and service design courses. So we started creating them. We started development on campus courses, online courses, and right now we have a mixture of blended courses and many courses with many partners from universities, institutes, startups. And we've been focusing on undergraduate education, graduate education, and corporate education. So there are three type of user personas, if you want to call them like that are needing to getting involved in the UX community and in the UX discipline more than that. So for example, we have been working with many companies and many universities All of these above that I'm signaling are really big institutes and universities that we develop courses for them, like from careers that last like 4 years to small courses from 15 hours. And since we started, we've been creating all of these courses from also to many universities and also to corporations. And we didn't know that we were doing it, so we just were doing it since we started. Our main focus was consultancy in that time, and working on UX and UI projects for banking, for insurance. But then we started growing with my company, and we realized we needed more professionals, and there were many professionals here in Peru. So we had to create the educational programs to create those professionals, or to develop the skills of our professionals. And most of the students right now that we have educated and that we have impulsed their development in these disciplines are right now working in banking, insurance, retail companies, startups, and consulting firms. So when I talk about these 3,000 people, that for us is really a lot. I didn't know there were so many people since I took the calculator and started thinking, so how many programs have we developed? How many online courses? And wow, there was a lot of people. So most of our clients right now are even people that took one of our courses in the past. So it's incredible for us to see that much people that have been growing with us since we put the small seed, and they're now really leaders of companies. They're now leading design companies here in Peru or in other parts of the world. And when I get to this question is, how do we do this? This was not a planned route that we have. This was not part of our objectives when we started with Continuum. But the thing is that when we started, no one was doing it. I mean, there wasn't many people here in the UX community, and as I told you before, we needed to hire new professionals for a consulting firm, and there was no one with the right capabilities, with the right skills. So we had to create them, and that was like really crazy. This mixture of us needing them and another companies, they told us, hey, do you know another professional in the UX field? Do you know a UX designer? Do you know a software developer? And since there were so little people, we started creating more and more programs for universities, for companies. And right now we have been developing a business model surrounding education in this field of innovation. And I want to share also with you what we have learned from education, this entrepreneurship, and in the corporate world. I don't know you guys if you work in corporate, are you working in a startup? But for us, it's a mixture of professionals that move from banking, retail, and many companies, and also startups that are much needed. So as I see it, the UX and service design discipline has a really tricky curve right now. In traditional companies, is so much different in the design world. So when I start seeing which is the evolution of seniority, we have two lines: the years of experience, and in the vertical line, the seniority level. So when we look at traditional jobs such as lawyers, such as doctors, such as many professionals, the curve of growth and seniority is really slow. For a senior doctor, or for a senior marketing, or for a senior lawyer, you have to take many years and have to take many MBAs, courses, and a master's degree to be a senior designer. But what happens? Are you listening me to? Are you hearing me well?
Yeah, we are.
Yes, yes, yes.
It's clear.
We're
Yeah.
following.
Okay, Thanks. So as I've been telling you, in the traditional jobs, it's a slow curve. You have to take many years to be a professional, a senior professional. But what it's been happening in the design world is it's an unknown place. The curve is really fast, you know. Many people jump from being a junior professional to being a super mega senior professional in almost 2 or 3 years. Since in a traditional profession you have to take like 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. And in that history, you start maybe as a designer, then you become a usability expert, then you become a information architect, and so on. You then learn design thinking, then you become a UX designer, a design researcher, a service designer, a product designer, a strategic designer, and also many of the different types of jargon that we know right now as a product lead, or things we're like ninja, product growth, lead designer, expert, and many of these words that no one really understands right now. So at the end, you become again a designer, and you understand that the word designer is a much more wide word than we started. And this is a really funny thing that happens in the field. So and the thing is that we could become so fast a senior designer that we don't know what are we. That's why we have like these role conflicts, and we don't know who we are. Are we really professionals in what we do? So which is my roadmap? Who is a senior designer? We ask all of those questions, you know, since we don't have a traditional reference of who is the senior designers that we know, since all of these disciplines being created at the moment.
Yeah, a
Much
lot
of
of
what
points. We have like identity crisis, like who we are, what we do, like what is this job,
That's right.
like who defines this, most often than any other job, probably.
That's right. So I'm gonna jump to the next screen. And we have, as you told me, a crisis of identity, you know. And this is, well, each year we have, I think, a little bit less of that crisis, since we know a little bit more about what we do. But still, it's not as a traditional profession that you know that in 10 or 15 years you're going to become a surgeon or a specialist. We don't know what's going to happen in the next 5 or 2 or 3 or 10 years in our discipline, since we are creating more discipline right now. But what I've seen in many organizations is that the maturity on the size of the organization will determine the profile of the professionals needed. So we have like almost 3 kind of professionals. I don't know if you have seen this before, but we have the curve of breadth of knowledge and depth of knowledge. I'm sorry, I get it. Yeah, it's a type. Depth. So on one side, we have the specialists, hybrid, and the ones that have multiple kind of skills. What I've been seeing in the startup world is that many professionals have a wide breadth of knowledge. They know many things. They're like they know UX, they know front end, they know how to build websites, they know how to do research, and they have multiple skills. But when we translate to consulting and design firms, we need people with multiple skills, but also with hybrid skills, you know, one that has a horizontal bridge, and then they have like this depth. They're experts in front end, on their experts on UI design. And then in big corporations, we have more specialists. You will have these 3 types of companies and 3 types of professionals that are needed depending on the maturity of the company and the size of the organization. So this is important for me. So that brings for me the question that how did we become senior designers so fast in so little years? I mean, here in Peru at least have passed no more than 3 or 4 years, and we already have senior designers. So how is that possible? Since there's not much experience that someone gained, and there's not much knowledge that there is in the market to learn. So since we're building all of the knowledge, how do we become senior designers of us? This is a question for you, and actually something that I still don't get it. But for me, the answer, one could be learning a bunch of methods, tools, frameworks, and changing perspectives about the industry. But actually, this is not the answer. I mean, learning frameworks and methods doesn't convert you into a senior designer. I mean, that's what I put the question. Is learning methods and frameworks really an evolution towards seniority? For me, it's not. And that's when we go from 2020 to 2021, and we have to question what is our role in design. Month to another. Back in 2010, it was easier. Every one of us was some kind of a web designer. But right now in 2020, we're many things. We're from the developers. We know about e-commerce. We're digital marketers. We have to know about omnichannel strategies. We have to know about product and service design. We have to be experts at research. We also have to know about digital transformation. We also have to know about startups creation. So it's a super wide things, and that's why we have an identity crisis. We don't know what we are, and we don't know what we do. So which one of those is my role again? So it's a complicated question. I don't think anyone has really the answer. But for me, the only right answer for us is that we are designers of businesses. And that is the main difference that we have with graphic designers or the other type of designers. We don't only design solutions for the people, we design solutions for the companies that hire us or that we work with. So I believe strongly that the role of UX and a service designer is to design user-centered businesses. And this relates to delivering real value. And that is why we have so many differences in terms of how much money can a designer charge per hour. We have people charging from $15 an hour to $150 an hour per hour and more. So what is the main difference on this type of professional? So which one is an amateur, which one is a professional, which one is a senior designer that earns a lot of money? For me, the answer is the designer that gives results. So the more impact on the business result that you have, the more rate per hour you can charge. And for me, this is imperative, since no one right now cares about the number of concepts or ideas, the quantity of customer journey maps that you deliver, the number of design screens, the beauty of your prototypes, the clicks on social media. None of this matters if you don't bring results to the company. So for me, a good designer brings great designs. Okay, it's part of the skill set that we gotta have. But a great designer delivers business results, and this is really important for me, since if we wanna get paid more by the person that is hiring us, we gotta know how to deliver business results, and this is essential. So once I talk and once I teach all of my students here in Lima and all of the programs that we have here in Lima, whether online or presentials, I put this on the table. So we have to become like a remix of things, and in an education that is non-linear. So focusing on results involves a different kind of education, and this is paramount for me. And what is the type of education that we need in UX and service design? And it is complex. it's not linear. It's not that we have to learn one methodology, then have to learn another one, then I have to learn a tool, and then I have to learn a special toolkit. No, for me, it's a complex education that will give the seniority that is needed for companies. And all of this focusing on that we have to deliver results for companies. What is delivering results for me? That we change the KPIs of the company. You can talk about user satisfaction. You can have about revenue. You can talk about churn rate, and you can talk about any other result that the company is needing in order to increase their value. So I think all of these boxes here that I have are needed in order to become a senior professional. Of course, when you start, you need a lot of theory. You have to know, and all of this in pink, you can learn on the internet. You know about theory, methods, tools. All of this is on the internet. Then there's another line that you have to know about cases. How that project went. How do you do it? Which type of people was involved? How do you manage all of the stakeholders? Then you have to know about industry knowledge. So this is paramount. You cannot know only about your industry. If you're in banking, you have to know what is happening in the whole banking ecosystem, not only in your bank. Actually, another thing is that have to know about your business, how your business works, how does it operate, how does it earns money, which people is relevant in your business. And there's another line here in the blue colors that you have to understand cross languages. What I mean with this is that you have to know how to communicate with people on the legal team, on the operations team, on the marketing team, on the IT team. So there's many people in a big company that speaks different languages. In the role of a UX professional or a service designer is to intermediate in all of these different areas. So another thing is that you have to communicate trust and build alignment with your team, with the rest of the stakeholders. You got to have a speed of action and initiatives, create opportunities, create solutions, and of course, create knowledge. And the last of these three in yellow are some things that I think are really different from a junior designer and from a senior designer. A senior designer is actually creating new opportunities and create solutions and create knowledge to the world. Since we know there is much to be created right now in our profession that we still don't know. We have the possibility to create new methods, new tools, and new frameworks. So that's why we have to work. And this is the main part of the presentation for me. It's a quick brief that I've been understanding from my teacher side and also from creating new types of programs. And the most important for us is how do we make that junior professionals turn into senior professionals. Once we started, as many people, we actually were teaching only methods and tools, and we talk about what is UX, what is design thinking, what is service design. But in the meantime, I learned that is more than that, and is this complex ecosystem and this complex framework that the senior professionals have to know in order to become senior and in order to bring more value to the company that you're working with. So in this closing thoughts, the first point is educate yourself on results, not only deliverables. Knowing how the customer journey map works is okay, but if you don't know what is the value of the customer journey map to or your company, it's not a benefit to anyone. If you don't know what is the return on investment of the customer journey map to the company, it's not going to work for anyone. The second recommendation is to show yourself and take action. Don't wait and ask for permission. at least here in Peru and Latin America, the UX professionals and service designers here are still fighting with the business stakeholders that don't believe in innovation. So the main recommendation I give is to don't wait, just do it. Then ask for forgiveness, then not permission. And the last recommendation or closing thought is that seniority is a sum of character and skill. So it's not that you will learn a lot of things doesn't convert to you in a senior professional. You have to develop your character and your skills. So that's all with my presentation. I look forward to answering questions, your thoughts about this talk, and what you think. Is it different from Latin America? So I want to hear more about it now.
So first of all, thank you.
Can I
Go
start
ahead,
first?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Thank you. That was really interesting. So could we, in simple words, explain to our audience what's the slight difference between user experience and service design?
That's interesting. So for me, user experience and service design is not that different, since UX is a part of service design for me. When you design a service, you have many touch points like an ATM, a website, an email, presential attention. But for me, in UX or service design, you are delivering value to people in terms of designing an experience, whether in one touch point or in multiple touch points. So for me, there's not much difference. Maybe for another people, it's a lot of difference, maybe in the frameworks and the discipline. But for me, it's all connected.
We seem to always.
Ghazi, I'm gonna cut you. So, guys, if you, for those watching us, if you have any question, even in French or Arabic, حتى بالفرنسي ولا بالعربي, حطهم. You can probably post it. On va faire translation. Okay. So again, إذا كان عندكم des questions بالعربي ولا بالفرنسي, حطهم طحنا نترجموهم للجست. I told them that they can post a question in French or in Arabic if they want. Go ahead, Ghazi, please.
Okay, this is kind of sounds like the discussion we always go back to have is like the terminology discussion. What does everything means? Like, what's the difference between like innovation process, design thinking? What's the difference between user experience, service design, product design, all that stuff? Yeah. Because people doesn't seem to come, no matter how much we talk about this, like people who are not from the field always seem to be failing to understand these concepts. Don't you see? Don't you see this also in your community, for example, also? Because this is what problem that we have. Maybe because like some of it has to do with people using terms they are not probably understanding, or also doesn't use them in their proper context. So people, when they hear it like in different contexts, they don't see the link and it starts to create confusion for them. So about this, I want to know your perspective on this whole thing. Like, how do you explain to someone all this, like innovation, design thinking, user experience? What's the difference between all this? Like, what's makes something different from the other?
So for me, as I told you a little bit before, I mean, I really have a difference in innovation from the other types of discipline. Design thinking, UX, and service design for me is a mixture, but innovation is another thing. We can innovate in many fields, from the technological, in biology, and the scientific field. And for me, as I see, innovations are creations that are going to be new in 5 years, in 3 years, but not right now. So we can do UX, we can work on UX projects and not be innovative, But it's a really good question, since I don't think it's a stable concept. there are perspectives on innovation. Then you can talk about, I don't know if you heard about these horizons of innovation, the 3 horizons. That is a really interesting position about it. So there are like close innovations that are from right now. There are in the second horizon that are going to be in the third year, and there are more disruptive innovations in the third horizon.
Okay, we got a question from Isra. She asking, there is a confusing field with UX design, like the design thinking.
Yeah, I mean, many people differentiate design thinking from UX as being a phase. When design thinking is at the first part of the phase, then starts UX, and then it comes agile methodologies. So since the whole design thinking phase is about discovering new opportunities, prototyping fast, but when you work in UX projects, you have to have a more clear and focused definition of what you're going to do. In design thinking, maybe you can do whatever, right? You don't know what's going to come up from your project.
Yeah,
Okay,
but the thing is,
I have a question. Sorry, Ghazi. So my question is related, to the community. How long have been IxDA Lima have been running for? I think few years. And the question is, did it have an impact on the community of both UX and businesses and startups? And how do you think the IxDA in general is acting for the best practices for UX?
Actually, I don't think it's been having a lot of impact on companies and startups. Maybe in universities and the community, yes, but not a lot in many companies. We try to host every IxDA event in a different location. So some of them have been hosted in universities, in institutes, in consulting companies, and only a small part of these events have been hosted in companies like banks and insurance companies.
Ghazi.
Okay, there is a question from Isra.
Yeah.
So the confusion between many fields are in user experience. I want to know which fields are essential part of UX, like emotional design and interaction. I didn't understand the question very well, but I think what she's trying to say is what the emotional design has to do with user experience, probably. This is what she's asking.
Yeah, I've been hearing this term emotional design. I don't really know much about it, but I think every kind of design has emotions. I mean, if we're working with users, we have to know about the human side of the product that we're delivering to them. So emotions are a natural part of us. So we have to consider that part in every product or service that we deliver to it, and of course in how we communicate it. So for me, it's connected. It's interaction design. It's a much smaller
specific
part.
Yeah,
it's a much profound part, and the experience design is the one that's around it.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah,
So Malek,
there's an interesting question from Hafid. He's asking about, is there any scale to evaluate the seniority level? Do we need to be now and have a senior level? What do you think of that?
It's two questions.
Yeah. There are seniority levels scales, but I think that every company has a different type of one. So, for example, banks have one. In my consulting firm, we examine each one, and we don't have a scale, but through interviews we know in what type of level there is one professional. But I think I don't know if this is a good advice or bad advice, but we have the opportunity to become senior, since we can put that in our LinkedIn account, but you have to be prepared. I mean, if you don't know if you're a senior professional, it's because you are not.
Yeah,
if you know
it's
you're
interesting.
A senior professional, it's because you are.
When you talked previously about the whole identity crisis and like job titles and stuff, previously it didn't happen like 20 or 15 years ago because people didn't give their job titles for themselves. Companies who did that,
That's right.
they had like a whole like scaling degrees of like positions on depending mostly on the years, how many years did you study or how many years did you spend in the company.
Right.
But nowadays we have the whole startup ecosystem where everyone is giving themselves these like fancy jobs, and like probably some of them doesn't, I'm just saying they don't even understand what the actual meaning of that position is, but sometimes for the sake of being like probably distinguishable or maybe a little bit too creative to go ahead and like give themselves like something new, but it resulted to like anything doesn't mean any sense anymore because when everyone starts to do it like I don't know, everyone just loses its authenticity or what does it mean exactly?
I have a different side of the story. In Tunisia, I'm also digital marketing, coach and trainer, and in Tunisia you can. It's like UX because it's a new field, and there are very few talents. You can go up in your scale, in your seniority very quick. In Tunisia, if you're a good community manager, you're gonna be social media manager in a couple of years because it's a new field, and the skills needed for that are new kind of skills that other people don't have. So you're gonna go up very quick. And there is another question from Hafid. He says, "What about in your company? Do you have a scale for the seniority?"
Yeah. In my company, we do have a scale for professionals. Have junior, semi-senior, and senior and lead professionals. So it's like 4 scales. But
how do you? Yeah, sorry. How do you evaluate the scale?
I create the scales. I first have to know them first. There is a initial exam that we give to them, an interview actually, but then once we start to work with them, we know which one of them is delivering results to our company. For example, how much money I can charge for a professional for a client. If I can charge like $70 US, $100 US, I know that makes the difference when I know which one is a junior or a senior designer. So for me, it's all about which one gives results to my client or for us.
Malek?
So I guess we answered Wissal's question as she asked, how can I know if I'm junior or senior designer?
You don't.
You don't.
You just have to tell yourself. You have to convince yourself that you are a senior and then become a senior designer. That's the only thing I believe. Yeah.
I think I heard someone who was talking about this, saying like people or someone doesn't know or isn't like convinced of what he's doing is a little bit toxic on your whole like professional life and on your whole life, because like the professional side is a big side of our lives today. So you have to pick something and convince yourself that you are that something, because not believing in this is gonna be like bad on the long run. It's going to cause you like the whole imposter syndrome and and I don't know, it's kind of toxic like for your whole like being and stuff like that.
Okay, I have a very important question for you, which is really part of this for the talk. How are you connected with the university, and how is there like a knowledge sharing? Did you participate in the conception of new programs in university? Is there, because in Tunisia there is not such thing in UX officially in the program, but people, they do it, from their own initiative, like Madame Inès Satout. She's certainly watching us right now. So how is the relationship with you, IxDA, and UX and the university?
So the question is how I got connected to the university. Is that
Now,
right?
how is now because in Tunisia we don't have UX as part of higher education in the university.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So how did end up teaching at the university UX?
So we created programs. So we created the programs, and then we also teach at those programs. So that's the only thing. I mean, once we started, since there were not much people in UX, we were kind of the only ones doing it. So we started meeting people, going to networking events, and then we knew some guy who worked at one institute, a design institute, and we started talking to them, and then we told them, hey, why don't we create something? And we created a whole 4-year career for them. And then we started working on those programs. Then we created a 3-month specialization in UX. Then we created, I shared just a link with you. Then we created 2 programs more with another university for adults. So it's been kind of crazy. We also have online courses with startups, and as I told you, there were many. So it's not that we were the best, but there were many where there were not many that people here.
It's that because in Tunisia, in order to get the change the education system, you have to go really through a lot of hustle. And myself, I was part of. I was invited as a social media club Tunisia as a part of 6 months workshops. It's not 6 months. It was 2 days every 3 months in order to improve the digital marketing program, which was very good initiative. But this take 1 year to design that, and 1 year for approval from the government. So you're lucky that you just say, okay, let's get UX into the program, and oops, it's there.
Maybe it's a little bit easier with like private universities, but if you wanted to go like through like government universities and stuff like that, it will take you years, like literally years.
We work with private institutes, so I know maybe like state-owned universities, it would take more to launch a program like this, but we have been working with private universities and institutes.
Yeah, about one other question about since we are talking about education, how do you think this whole like coronavirus and quarantine type of lifestyle is going to impact the way that we should educate ourselves and probably the generations to come? And don't you think there is like better ways to reshape or redesign the whole education system that we are used to have since we're a child?
Well, there is a question from Madame Inès.
Yeah, but we are in the middle of one. So what do you think about this? Like, don't you think that we should rethink the whole education system logic?
Yeah, right now we had a on-campus course that is 4 months, and right now we're doing all of that course on an online version. So all of the teachers are working from their home. We use new online tools like Mural. I don't know if you know this one. I will turn it to you. There's that one. It's really great. Mural. I don't know if you know Mural. That is an online digital workspace.
Yeah. Is it like Zoom or like the typical?
Mural Miro, of course,
Yeah.
the Google
Miro, I
tools.
actually use it for like project and stuff like that. So it's like a collaborative boards and stuff like that.
That's right. That's the one we use the most. I mean, and this one, Mural.co. It's a really great tool for teaching since we work on customer journey maps, on the business model canvases, and on other types of frameworks. And we also redesigned the whole course to be online with new kind of dynamics and new kind of group participations and etc.
Do you think it's better to teach
And
online?
we have a question from Madame Ines. She said, methods and program that could be shared with students and let them appreciate experiences and practices.
Methods, well, there are many methods in the UX field. I mean, there are research methods, there are ideation methods, there are prototyping methods. Maybe later I can share with you. I mean, it's a really big field. I will share with you a link.
Madame Ines she is also teaching design in one of the biggest universities in Tunis. It's bad. So what's that? So her question is really about as a colleague.
Where to learn UX? I mean, I don't know there. Actually, we know there. We actually created another school. It's kind of like a startup of us called Medu. I will share it to you also. But there are classes with teachers from different parts of Latin America, but it's in Spanish, so I don't know if it's gonna work for you. I would love to give you a discount. I mean, if you know, but I don't know if you know, if any one of you know Spanish. It would be, I think, a bit hard for us to teach it. And I will be sharing right now. I'm sharing a couple of links that might be of your interest. But mural, okay, that's the one. So another question.
Yeah. Malek?
Yes, I do have a question. How could you seek more the attention of entrepreneur more than students? Because here we find engagements from students more than entrepreneur. So how is it working there?
So the question is, how do you find attention from entrepreneurs?
Yes.
Well, I don't know. I think it's different in many parts of the world. The startup ecosystem here in Peru, it's booming right now. So there are a lot of the government is investing in startups, in the creation of startups. I actually have been a mentor of some of them, and many of them, once they start in the startup phases, they have to learn about business models, about user experience, about how to get a value proposition. So that is when they start to know about user experience. Right now, I think everyone that has a startup know about user experience. So here it's I think a bit natural. So anyone who is running a startup have to know about user experience. If not, their product could not be so attractive to the users.
Yes. There is a question. There is a question from Mohammed bint Rikaya. He's asking where is the difference between UX, CX, and service design?
Amazing question. I'd love to describe that question. For me, CX, customer experience, starts with a customer. So someone who is willing to pay. And you design the experience to that guy, the one who's willing to pay. The user experience, I believe it's a experience that would be involve a customer experience, but also the user. The user is not always the one who pays for the product or for the service. And service design, for me, is the line that connect different touch points that give the user a whole experience. So you might have an ATM, banking experience, and email experience, and service design is the one that connects all of those.
What do you think is broader, like user experience or customer experience? Was like the broad
Service,
picture.
for me, it's service design. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
For example, in a university, you have the customer, that the customer sometimes is the father of the mother who pays, but the users are the students. So you have a service designed for customers and for students and for the workforce in the university. So the service is a whole picture that you design for the university.
Probably some would call it the system design, because also the systems are designed.
Might be. Yeah, might be.
And you used before what you called a designer for business, not like the designer, the classical or traditional view of a designer who is like working on Photoshop or all that stuff. Is a person who figure out like who is putting the business goal at his sake. Because lately we've been talking too much about users and how we should focus our attention on users and all that stuff, and we kind of neglected a bit the business side, because at the end of the road we are doing this for the guys who's paying for the project, for the business guy. If he doesn't see value on what you are doing, he probably is gonna think you didn't do a good job, even though the users are really pleased or really like moved, let's say, but the product you have made. But if the business doesn't see the value you have brought and the results of your work on his like business objectives, he wouldn't like think you've done a good job, even though you would think you did.
Well, actually, in our team, in the projects that we have and the products that we develop, there's a multidisciplinary team. You know, we have, I mean, almost all of them are designers, but I have a sociology, an anthropologist, a psychologist, and of course a graphic designer, an engineer. You know. There's a mixture of careers, but all of those are designers, and all of those have to bring results to the company. But every one of them has to know what are the objectives of the company, what are the KPIs, and how to deliver value. How to not only to design a nice solution, but how that solution is going to move the needles of the business in the shortest time.
Yeah, I've seen someone wrote a tweet lately. He said everyone in the company should be a designer, because the design its job is so big that it actually takes everyone to do it.
That's right.
That was a very like thumbs up.
We have a question by Hafid again. Next question we're gonna pay, because three question, the three question quota is over. He says, I don't believe in normalizing methods, but I think that best practices are better. So, do you use your own best practices? Do you think also the box?
Actually, I haven't heard about that term, normalized methods. I don't really know what is it. I will look for it.
Probably he means that you have a strict process or a strict way on which you do project. For example, you say, okay, step one, what we do, step two, what we do. Okay. Other than that, focus more on best practices and what are the things that everyone should do, but don't focus as much on the process and the deliverables, but rather on best practices.
I agree on that.
I totally agree also.
We have a general methodology, but every case it's different. Sometimes you have to run a quick MVP session and work on 2 weeks to deliver an MVP, and then you can work on an MVP for 6 months. So every project is different, and we believe that designers and engineers and people from the business have to work together on their result, but not focus on have it all on a determined method. And of course, methods and tools are to be changed, are to be improved. And that's the thing that we have to learn as designers. We also can create new tools, new methods, new frameworks from our realities, which ones that work better. Yeah.
And something that is getting a bit popular lately is the design sprint, the 7-week like problem solving process, and it's getting a lot of success because it delivers fast, like based on like rough like process. It doesn't tell you like exactly what. Well, it tells you a little bit what you do, but it focuses more on like the mentality and the team and the people required to do that, more than the deliverables or the methods to exactly do it.
Yeah, I mean, I believe in design sprints, but not in all cases. I think it works well when you have to. The design sprints started on Google Ventures since they had to validate many startups in a short range of time. But if you have more time, there's no reason to only do a design sprint. Maybe when you can work on 2 weeks or a month to validate your idea. So I know there are different types of cases. If you're a venture or an investor, it's cool to be running design sprints since you have short time to validate the idea. But maybe if you're a startup or a company and you have more time, then maybe you can work on the idea and start to iterate it. You can start to improve the idea.
Yeah, absolutely true. And also they have the right people to do it, not only
of course.
the time.
Yeah, you need a stakeholder. You need people that has a clear vision on the business, that has money to invest on the business. So that is hard for most companies to have people in 7 days. Yeah, it's not that easy.
Malek?
I don't know. I don't see other questions.
Yeah, there is a question.
What is Agile UX?
What is Agile UX? So UX, I like and I hate these terms that appear like one week to another. I mean, Agile UX is the connection of user experience in the Agile teams, the Agile methodology. But since
and also the Lean UX, there is also
Lean UX, I love Lean UX. I love Agile. I know, but Lean UX, it's I think the first phase. Then you work on Agile UX, but it's actually kind of the same. User experience is focusing on the client, and when you work in Agile teams, you have to work, of course, in Agile UX. You have to work in really small sprints to gather data from users, to design prototypes and to design interfaces, and then give them to the software development team to implement it, and then run another sprint. So that is what is known as Agile UX.
Okay, I have a small question. If you have a customer who is looking for a product as an MVP, which part of the UX you're gonna really let down? Which part of UX you're gonna keep?
If someone is working on an MVP, what part I'm gonna lay down?
Yeah.
Can you give me an example? I don't think I'm
gonna give you an example. We have a customer, and this customer is he wants an MVP in order to get funds, and then he's gonna invest more a bigger budget.
Okay.
But right now he wants an MVP, something that it's working, to show it to the investors, to maybe a startup, a startup accelerator. And so he comes to you and says, okay, I want an MVP. I want it, I don't want it to cost a lot. I want it to be done fast, and it's an MVP. It's not a final product.
Okay, I get it now. So for us, the concept of MVP, of minimum viable product, is we try to delay the construction of the platform as most as we can. Building a platform is really expensive in all cases. It takes resources, time, money, of course. So we try to push as far as we can to building a platform, and we try to develop a solution using quick pre-existing solutions that we have on the market, from Google Forms, Excel's, pre-created platforms, and to work on creating a minimum viable solution, but not a minimum viable platform.
Exactly.
So that's what we try to work on an MVP in 2 weeks or a month. And the main concept of the MVP is that you have to be able to sell that product to someone. It's not an
Yes.
MVP if you can sell it. I mean, that would be a great prototype, but it's not an MVP. So for us, we don't focus on building a platform, but we focus on building a solution that could be sold to a user. A user have to be willing to pay that for that product.
Yeah, that's a very good explanation, because an MVP is, to better explain it, is the minimal product that could be sold. It's not the minimal product that should be seen, or minimum functionality, because most people think of MVP like they put just the features and forget about the design and all of that. It's rather than picking one or two features that would probably distinguish you from other products or other businesses, and focus
Right.
on these, and doing the whole process. It doesn't mean for an MVP you cut off some part of you do the whole process, but you minimize. You invest little resources to do each part, and try to get as fast as possible to the product that will be sold.
That's right.
Malek, that is a tricky question.
Yeah, how to use UX in Agile infrastructure.
How to use what is agile infrastructure in an agile? I don't think I've heard about agile infrastructure.
The thing is,
let's say, it's a the first question was what is UX, Agile UX, but this question is how to use UX in the Agile process. That's a process.
In the agile process, I mean, you have to have a multidisciplinary team. I mean, not only software developers or engineers, but you have to have one guy or two people that focus on the user experience of the product, and working on iterative processes that would be sprints. So that is how I work with, and my team works in agile products.
I think there is a role that we most often forget or fail to mention, is the manager role. Is the person who is at the center of all this, who is like managing and deciding, for example, what to do first, and then he's like the facilitator between the design, development, and other aspects of the product, because the product also may contain other disciplines other than design and development. So there is like a crucial need for management in the center of all this, but I don't know, we most often fail to mention this role, because maybe right now it's like shared or handled between all the people that works on the project, or I don't know. What's your perspective on this, Sebastian?
Can you repeat the last part of the question?
I mean, the role of the manager in the whole, like the product team. Do you see it? How do you actually see the manager doing? Is it really necessary to have a manager? I mean, what do you think about all this?
I mean, you can have a product leader or a product owner, and maybe that is the one. I believe in autonomous people and autonomous roles, but you have to have a vision, and you have to put someone who leads the way and what is going to be building next to the user. You can call it manager, a leader, or a role.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever his name is.
Yeah, he has to have the perspective, and also he has to know how to align the responsibilities of the team in order to work on something that matters. Because in UX and service design, and in design in general, it's easy to lose focus. So we gotta have someone who is focused always to lead the team on that focus. Or if not, we can start building many features that are not relevant to any user.
Exactly. In traditional.
The second part of his question, he's telling us Scrum is an agile infrastructure.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I haven't heard the term agile infrastructure.
Is it a method? I think
agile
it's called
frameworks.
Yeah, it's framework or the method.
But I think it's the same. So sorry for the confusion.
It's a process. It's mostly a process.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have Malek? Now we're waiting for your question.
No, it's fine.
By the way, Malek is an architect. He's a part of the IxDA team job, and I have a question. Also, still about the community, but because I'm more focused about the community. So tell me again, how long have you been running the IxDA Lima?
How long has the IxDA Lima? Around 5 years.
5 years, yeah. So we are 2 years. But I think that you are really ahead of us, in terms of UX and all kind of. You have a lot of UX scales. We have only one UX designer. You have what are the most precious lessons you did learn when dealing with the community in IxDA Lima?
The most precious lesson that I learned?
Yes.
Okay. So for me, the most relevant lesson is that we have to turn the focus on results and not working only on deliverables. For us, it's really easy to work on to create a customer journey map, to create a prototype, to create a new design, and it's easy and fun and it's good looking, but the thing is that we have to change that mindset in order to focus on results. So, as I told you in the presentation, the other stakeholders, they don't care about the design and the pixel perfect of the design. They only focus on sales, on churn rate, on moving a KPI in the company. So that is really important for us to understand it, because sometimes our efforts are not really well focused. We can be working a whole year in a banking app, but if the banking app is not delivering results, they're gonna be throwing that in the trash. So that is for me a really mindset change that we have to take in the whole design community.
Yeah, that is really good advice actually, because we are still focusing on the first part of that. We are still focusing on like deliverables and processes and terms and all that stuff. Maybe this answers also Malek's question.
I have another.
Go
I don't
ahead.
think if it's a lesson, but I think it's something important for me. Sometimes we separate ourselves from our client. We think the client is another guy in another room, and we hate him.
He's a bad guy. Often he's a bad guy.
He's a bad guy. He doesn't know about design, but it's important that we bring him to the table. We are a team focused on bringing the results. We're not separate parts. We are a team. So that for me, it's also important to share it with you.
That's why IxDA Tunis doors are always open for anyone. And by the way, we are now announcing tomorrow a big partnership with our friend Monji. It's a UXGen. It's another club, because in Tunisia we have 3 UX main clubs. We have the IxDA Tunis. I think that you are the leader. I think. And there is IxGen, who is based in another town, and there is GDG Tunisia. They have many clubs around the country, and I think we are the first UX dedicated club in the country, and we are now running the club for over 2 years, almost 2 years. Sorry, in June I think we're gonna. So and all our doors were open to everybody. Whatever we don't have people that are gonna know, gonna see how. Is that true, Malek?
Yes, true. I just want to know if Sebastian could give us some ideas about events in IxDA. How is it going there during this pandemic? I mean, this UX Cafe went from monthly to weekly, so. Just want to know what other types of events could we run. Maybe
Rather than having less, we're having more.
I mean, the design community is always sharing things. We have creative people here that every now and then launch a new initiative, webinars or job posting websites. And I think the design community is always sharing and trying to support the context. Here in Lima, it's a bit harsh right now since of the context, the quarantine. Most companies are right now reducing personnel. It's been hard. We have been like closed for around like 60 days right now. The country, we don't have flights anywhere. You can't go out to the street. So it's a little bit difficult, but I think everyone is kind of managing. So how to keep moving. We have to think that we have these spaces in the digital world. We can keep working through our companies through the internet. So I think for the digital ones, it's not so much a problem of the people that is non-digital. I mean, I think they're suffering a lot. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because this is one of the main objects is attract more people in our events, and the IxDA network is a big one. So,
yeah.
How do you recommend people to go to IxDA events around the world, not only in Tunis? And are there benefits? Are there benefits of being a network? Are there benefits, that it's having events all over the year? So, up to you to tell us.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to keep sharing. I don't think this is an experiment for you, also for me. I mean, it's really great that we have the session here. Maybe I can tell the team here in Peru to collaborate with you. Maybe we can start calling the IxDA in Argentina, in Europe. Then maybe do a small, not a big event, but maybe we can gather like 3 or 4 local cities, and maybe we can do something cool,
Yeah, exactly. Because we were really thrilled to know that our people from the other side of the world who actually having the same troubles as we have, going through the same journey as we are taking, and it's kind of comforting and heartwarming, if you know what I mean.
I know, I understand.
So, would you be willing to fly to Tunis to join us for?
Of course, I will. I would love to go there.
We'd love to have you.
Okay. I think that it has been a very. First of all, again, Sebastián, thank you very, very much, because you did say yes without even thinking. You did, say I'm gonna be there. It was really fantastic. You have very, excellent and fluent English. You have,
Absolutely.
absolutely. You have a look of a UX designer. And you place behind. You have a guitar behind that. You look like a UX designer. I have a library. You have a guitar.
Common point between for the four of us.
Yeah, Malek have stick notes on the wall.
And Tunisian flag.
It is black. And Ghazi have I think a plant. I have a window open.
Also,
you have a guitar.
Also, I have a guitar. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you have a guitar. Yeah.
Yeah, we're musicians here.
Maybe you can sing for us.
Yes.
A Peruvian song.
We can collaborate more on more than just UX.
Create an international band.
Yeah,
you can follow me on my Instagram account.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
What is your Instagram?
I will share it for you right now.
Okay, I'll get us on the link. I didn't. He was disconnected. We're gonna be back in a minute. Again, this is our first live event. What has Ma?
I'm sorry. Here I am back.
Yeah. Okay.
Welcome back.
That's my Instagram account.
Instagram account. Okay.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give the Ghazi award, a Malik award, and then we're gonna give our guest closing, closing thoughts.
So for me, I'm really grateful for the invitation. I would look forward to be collaborating with you guys. Thanks again, Karim, all of you. I mean, I love this space, and I look forward to keep talking to you to share more about what's going on in the design ecosystem there. I can tell you a little bit more about what's going on here, and well, let's keep talking.
For sure, for sure, Sebastián, we're gonna have common projects coming soon. Stay tuned, and thank you very much again, because you didn't say. And by the way, I'm gonna talk to you, and I'm gonna connect with you later, because we need another speaker for the next week. So this is between us later. And Malek and Ghazi, your final thoughts.
Yeah, we thank you so much, Mr. Sebastián, for giving us of your time. It's such an honor, and I look forward for more collaborations.
Great.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Yeah, thank you for your time. It was really great to exchange thoughts and hearing your perspectives about stuff. And it's always great to meet people from around the globe. And yeah, but also I shared the Instagram account that we created recently. I don't know if you see it in the chat. We share like content related to usability, UI design, and all that stuff. So we'd love to hear your feedback on this.
Okay.
Thank you. So thanks again, and this hopefully is the beginning of a long-term collaboration.
Yeah, it's just a start.
I hope it was beneficial for our audience also.
I would also thank, Marwan, Nisreen, and Munji, who has been able to join us tonight, because they have some engagement. No problem. The IxDA Tunis is hosting a weekly live with different guests about different team in UX. We are learning a lot thanks to our team and our guests. Thank you again. And hope we're gonna be your guests maybe next time for IxDA Lima. By the way,
Spanish also.
I was in the group, and I did post the event, but then I didn't get approved for the post. So don't worry about that.
Okay, guys, take care.
Okay, thank you very much.
Bye bye.
We'll talk in another time.
Ciao.
Bye, guys.
Absolutely.
Bye.
Good night, everybody. Thank you very much for following, and see you next week.